everybody, and welcome to Smartphone College. So what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to do Python coding. And in order to do that, we need a place to write our code. So if you scroll down to the lower part of this screen, you should see something like this. So we have a script here called main.py. A script is just some instructions for a computer. So it's like a grocery list, a grocery list of things that you want the computer to do. So we're going to type in a command. We're going to say 1 plus 1, and the computer is going to do some very simple math for us. So now, after we have made some instructions for the computer to follow, we have to tell the computer, hey computer, go ahead and execute those instructions. Go ahead and do it. So we have two ways. The best way is to go up here. Don't click the play button. Click this little down arrow button over here and then click on the console, because the play button will run it, but the console will run it and it'll show you the result. So we're going to click on console, and then it's going to say, boom, 1 plus 1, 2. Awesome, our program worked. So now we're going to go back here. We're going to edit our script. Again, remember, a script is just a list of instructions for the computer. And we're going to say 2 times 5. So the computer is going to run these in order. It's first going to run this program code, and then it's going to run this program code. So then let's click over here to see the console again. There we go. See, look, it said 1 plus 1 and then 2 times 5. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 2 times 5 is 10. Awesome. We're doing great. So now that you know how to use the console, we're going to go through some programming instructions. I'm going to change the screen to some slides. And what you see on the slides, I'll want you to click on this pencil, and then I will want you to edit this script and then put those lines of code into this script. And then you'll need to run it using this. Okay, let's get to work. So first we're going to talk about why you would want to learn the Python coding language. My name is Tyler Seward. I am an AI specialist, and I will be teaching you about Python today. So Python is the most popular language for machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it can help you land a very well-paid job. I think the average for a Python developer is around like $90,000 USD, $90,000 USD per year. There's a huge community of Python developers. Around 8.2 million people use Python worldwide, so you can get a ton of help and other programs available to help you. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to type into your interpreter just like we did before. We're going to do print, and then we're going to do open parentheses, and then quotation marks, and then we're going to do I like cats, then we're going to do quotation marks, and then we're going to do close parentheses. So every phone has a different keyboard, so you guys are going to have to play with your keyboard to figure out how to find these symbols. I can't really help you with that. But once you do that, remember to click on the little console button and run it. And when you do, it should print out I like cats. So if you got that to run, perfect. We'll keep going. If you didn't get it to run, I want you to pause this video and keep trying until you get it right. Okay, so on to the next one. We're going to do x equals 5. So what this is saying is there are things called variables. What that is a little tiny bucket that the computer stores information in. So with Python, it's really easy to make these variables. All you have to do is say, okay, I want to name a variable x, and then I want to put something into it. I want to put a little tiny bit of information into that bucket. So we're saying, okay, this bucket is named x, and I want to put the number 5 into that bucket. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to say, okay, so this is a different setting. What we're doing is we're putting the word cats into a variable. So the variable, we say, okay, it's a bucket for information. I'm going to name it x, and I'm going to put the word cats into it. So the reason why we store things in these little buckets called variables is because we're going to pull it up later. So the computer says, we tell the computer print, and then we say, okay, I want you to print whatever is stored in that variable called x. And we defined that earlier. When you put something into a variable, it's called defining it. So we defined this variable earlier, and we say, okay, I want you to print whatever was in that variable. So now I want you to get on your consoles and type in this code. Python is very finicky, so you're going to have to type it in all exactly. You're going to have to use the right quotation marks, use the right parentheses, etc., and then go ahead and run it. and it should just print out the word cats. Okay, so one interesting thing about Python is when you're doing math like we did before, you can either just do 1 plus 1 and then run it, or you can do print 1 plus 1. It doesn't really matter. Either way, you can do it and it's fine. It'll print out the same results. Okay, so what about using two variables? Let's try this. Let's try storing in the variable named x. We're going to store my cat's name is, and remember to get those quotation marks in there. And then we're going to say y is Ridley. So y is a different variable. So we have two different variables, two different little buckets to store information in. This bucket stores my cat's name is. This little bucket stores Ridley. So then we're going to print what's in bucket number 1, and then we're going to add to that what's in bucket number 2. So when you print it out, it should just say the whole thing, my cat's name is Ridley. Okay, so here's another interesting thing that we can do. And it's an interesting thing to note. So we are going to store a specific insult inside of this variable called insult. So it's going to say insult equals quotation marks, your cat smells bad. All right, end quotation marks. And then we're going to do print, and then we're going to do insult with a capital I, and then we're going to press execute like we did before. Okay, so you should, if you did this the way that I instructed it, you should have gotten an error. And the reason why is Python is case sensitive. You see this word right here starts with a lowercase I, a little I, and this word right here starts with an uppercase I or a big I. That is a no-no in Python. In Python, a big I is completely different from a little I, and same for every other letter. A big P is completely different from a little p. So you're going to have to match the case. All right, so this should work. Insult equals your cat smells bad, and then print insult. So when you run this, it should print out that insult